Good news in Nebraska.
Yes.
Similar news in South Carolina. In South Carolina, it was what, 4 lawmakers?
5 female lawmakers. 3 of them are Republicans who actually joined together and filibustered. I'm not fully aware of the procedural machinations, but they killed the near total abortion ban in South Carolina on the same day that Nebraska did.
And in Nebraska, my understanding is it was just one guy, and he was something like an 82-year-old lawmaker who basically said, if we do an abortion ban at 6 weeks, people don't even know that they are pregnant more often than not at 6 weeks. And so it's basically a total ban. And he couldn't sign on for that. Here is a Nebraska state senator who has a differing opinion.
This was in the midst of their debates on this issue, but I still think we should play it.
Oh, yeah.
Just because of, even though thankfully these ghouls lost in this instance.
By one vote. By one vote.
But exactly. This is the impulse that's driving it in all the other states where it succeeded.
Here we go.
After a period of time, things become normal. And we've been in a state or a country where for 50 years, abortion has become normal. And phrases such as forcing women to be pregnant are used. No one's forcing anyone to be pregnant. Pregnant's a voluntary act between 2 consenting adults. We won't go into details. We're all adults here, and there may be some children here. But no one's forcing anyone to become pregnant.
Right. No one's forcing anyone to become pregnant, but there are people who are forcing women to be pregnant and to remain pregnant and to continue their pregnancy.
No, someone is forcing them in some instances to become pregnant through rape. This is rape denial.
This is true too.
I mean, this is like worse than what was said about by what's his name, Todd Akin. This is worse because he was saying that there is rape, but that pregnancy cannot result from and flush it all out. There can't be pregnancy that results from it. This guy's saying that any pregnancy is the result of 2 consenting adults when we know there's child rape. There was a 10-year-old in Ohio who was pregnant, who got an abortion. Was that
all these freaks acted like was a lie?
Yeah, well then they said it was a lie, and then they said, it was someone who came over the border. But I guess that was I guess she was asking for it, that 10-year-old.
And to be clear too, and maybe this guy really did need to spell it out, despite the fact there being all adults and perhaps some children there, but not every time someone copulates are they trying to get pregnant. And so sometimes this happens very often by mistake. Even if there is an attempt to use birth control, depending on what it is, but regardless. So none of what he says there is really true, but it also misses the point that the issue is, except for those cases, where there is, people consent to, well, in some instances, obviously, in most instances, to having sex. But he's basically saying that the act of having sex means that you no longer have autonomy over your body.
Right.
You've sinned.
No, like Planned Parenthood, as it were.
Right.
You got to pay the piper. If you're a woman there, yes.
So it's either the if a woman gets pregnant, she was asking for it in a rape. If she gets pregnant by a rape and says so, well, you probably did something. You probably dressed a little provocatively, that kind of deal. Or it was just, hey, it was a man and this was his girlfriend or his wife and she is his property. And so she can't claim that the sex and the pregnancy was not consensual because that's within the scope of his property rights. So what are we talking about here?
It's thank God there was that one guy there in Nebraska probably saved the lives of certainly it probably saved certain number of actual of lives, but also saved Nebraskan women from being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. I mean, that's basically it.
Extreme amount of probably traumatizing inconvenience that a lot of women in other states are going through.
Hey, folks, one of the biggest challenges we have in today's media world is how do I become an educated media consumer? And for me, what helps me understand what's happening with stories out there and how it's being reported, I use Ground News. What it does is it breaks down how a story is being covered, both on ideological lines, left, center, right, and in terms of corporate, non-corporate media. It's all there, very transparent. It gives you the opportunity to look at how a story is being covered internationally by neighboring countries or countries around the globe. It also has this feature called blind spots, where you can see if there's a story that is being covered more by the left or the right. You can start to see how media narratives are built. It's a fascinating site. It's a really helpful tool to educate yourself on media. Ground.news/majority. Try it for yourself. It's going to enhance both your understanding of the news today and long term. It's going to build your ability to be a better media consumer. Check it out. Ground.news/majority.